What is up, everybody? Why is this thing doing this again? Let me click this real fast. You know, there's always some kind of issue. It can't have a Wednesday night without something going wrong. Let me click a button real fast. Come on, you pain in the butt. There we go. Guys, you know I always start the show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First and foremost is my friends over at Yellow Jacket. For 75 plus years, they've been making quality tools and making them right here in the US of A. And that's a big deal, man, because now we're in the world where everything is shipped over to China. It's made in Mexico. And they're making it all right here, which is huge to me. And I've always told you, Yellow Jacket just kind of reminds me of when I got into the trade with my dad, my first set of gauges. And I think that they are doing an amazing job trying to, bring some of their products up. I think they relied on a lot of their strengths for a long time, and they're really going out of their comfort zone and putting out some amazing products. One of the things that I've mentioned here the last couple times that I've done their read has been the YJack Flow anemometer. And just so you guys know, it was named the winner in the ACHR News 2024 Dealer Design Award. So they won that award. They were recognized for excellence in product design in the 2024 Dealer Design Awards program, sponsored by the Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration News magazine. So that's pretty huge. Congratulations to my friends over at Yellow Jacket for doing what they're doing and making some award-winning products. You guys know that I would never tell you what to buy, ever. That's not what I ever will do. But if you got some of that summer money to spend, you're trying to upgrade your tools, give Yellow Jacket a look. That's all I ever say, especially nowadays with them. They're on True Tech Tools. You can buy them using my discount code Uncensored to save 8%. Also, them being on Measure Quick. Before it used to be you had to stay with one brand because you couldn't mix and match. Now with the Measure Quick app, which that's not a sponsor, but I highly suggest that you guys use that. You can use different brands. So say you have something from Testo, Field Piece, or whatever it is, you can add on Yellow Jacket items and still use all of them inside of Measure Quick without having to go out and buy a whole new platform, just so you guys know that is there. All right. That being said, remember, 75 years of expertise built into every tool. Next, guys, hands down, VETO makes the best tool bags in the business. It's not even an argument. Yes, they are not cheap, but you get what you pay for. If you are in the field every day and you want something that's durable, that's going to last, it's going to hold the equipment that you spend so much money on, VETO is going to be it. They have something for everybody, no matter what trade you are in. HVAC, our trade, plumbing, electrical, garage doors, our guest tonight, whatever it is, if you're holding tools, VETO has a bag for you. It's high quality. It's going to last you a minimum of 5 years with their 0 downtime warranty. Their coolers, which I actually have one of those that we'll give away at some point once I actually get the other bags sent out. But VETO is making the best stuff in the business. So if anybody out there is looking for a tool bag, look no further. It's worth the investment. Save up a little bit of money. Get your first VETO tool bag. And trust me, it'll be worth it. It'll last you. And you can thank me. All right. With that being said, remember, designed by a tradesman for a tradesman. Let's get on to the pledge so we can get on to this amazing show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States. And thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump day, and another amazing show. I am super excited about tonight. As you guys know, I've evolved in my career as far as I was, a technician. I've done a lot of technical things, and then I worked my way up through business and running companies. And our guest tonight is a person that I've followed for a long time. He's been on the show several times. And the thing that is so powerful is that he has touched our industry so much, and he's not even in our industry. That just tells you the kind of influence that he has. And it doesn't hurt that he's just an amazing person. I thoroughly believe that, he stays very strong in his Christian faith, which is very huge to me. But most of these people, when they become successful, they don't have to worry about the little guy. They've done what they've done, and they can just move on and keep the ball rolling. So when somebody turns back around and does things that gives back to the trades and gives back to people, I think it's absolutely amazing. And I think that nobody does it better than this person. So with that being said, tonight's guest is going to be Mr. Tommy Mello. He is the host of the hit podcast, The Home Service Millionaire. He is the author of 2 amazing home service books, The Home Service Millionaire and Elevate. Not to mention, he is the owner and CEO of A1 Garage Doors. So guys, please help me put your hands together to welcome the one and only Mr. Tommy Mello.
Let's go.
What's up, boss man?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's today was a good day. I just was looking at Service Titan and broke $1 million. It's always good when you break $1 million. It's not a bad day.
No, Jesus, you guys did $1 million today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I hope to be able to get to do something like that one day. I've never had $1 million day. But hey, you gotta aim for something, right?
Well, if you shoot for the stars and you land on the moon, it's still a good thing. So really proud of the team. Things are, it doesn't get easier per se, but I get to do what I want now. The decisions I have to make, the stress I deal with is almost like it's intentional. I choose to come in and do the orientations. I did yesterday. Orientation was 3 hours long, 52 new technicians and installers. And man, I'm living my dream. So no complaints.
That's awesome. And Tommy, I love how you always, give so much credit to your team because, and this is, I'm not saying names on here, but there's other people that have followed that are big and they're big personalities. And it's a lot of the look what I did, kind of thing. But I love how every time I've ever talked to you, it's always been, I get to do what I do because of my team. And I just think that says a lot about you.
I could never do this. I couldn't even come close. This company, I can't rebuild this company. I can't it would take another 2 decades. And it's all because of the amazing team. Some people aren't here that I owe them a lot of credit to that we came up together, but they're still my best friends. No one that's worked with me that helped me build this thing is anybody I don't talk to anymore. I had a choice when we took some chips off the table. 25 millionaires came out of it, but I can't tell you how many people got 30 to 50,000 on top of that that didn't work for me anymore. They never expected anything, and it was a lot. And I did it as a gift because I'm allowed to give a certain amount of money. You're allowed to gift up to $13 million. So I used my gift money. You could give 17,000 every year to anybody you want. And it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Now, I couldn't do the whole entire company, but we did give a lot to every single employee as well. I mean, it wasn't like a game changer where they were going to retire, but we took a amount out, and I want to do more and more. I love the idea of building a company, taking chips off the table, and doing it again and again, because that's when everybody gets to win.
Yeah, and it's an awesome place to work for. You think those people aren't driven? You think they're not going to bust their tail for you? And it's especially in the day and age where, I've never been, obviously money drives me. I want to be financially able to do what I want to do for me and my family. But it's amazing how sometimes a little bit of, an attaboy, or, like, hey, you're doing an awesome job. I just wanted to give you this. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a very primitive software that simply plugs into my payroll system. It tells me who's been onboarded and offboarded. It asks for an updated pictures of their family, birthdays, anniversaries. My plan is and we hooked it up to Power BI. My plan is just to tell people happy birthday to their wife, send them flowers. It's to give them a gift card sometimes. It's to recognize their best day. It's these little things that allows a guy like me with a lot of coworkers to be able to acknowledge them still, because it's hard. It's hard because I've known a lot of people for 10 years that have worked here, but it's hard when today I met 3 new people that are like, hey, it's finally nice to they called me Mr. Mello, which was super weird. And I'm like, no, I'm not Mr. Mello. That's like my dad or somebody. But it's super cool, man. And I got to say, like, I love just taking a deep breath of air and just smelling the roses sometimes and going, this is cool. Like, you watch the way people work. We just delivered 101 pallets, not cases, pallets of water to Justa, which is for the homeless, a 20-foot trailer of food. And we had 40 volunteers there. I just did the orientation yesterday, and I was in front of more than 50 guys. And I'm like, this morning I cold plunged. And I'm like, you know what? Who wants to cold plunge? So we got a cold plunge getting delivered next Tuesday with we're going to do 15 minutes in the sauna, and it's a mobile cold plunge. And I'm like, it's going to be so much fun. And I'm like, what else could I do? Like, there's so much more I could do. And all the time I'm like working on a list. What else can I do? And that's something small. That's like $500 to have it here for a few hours. But it's a cool experience. Like, the founder or whoever, you could call me the janitor, is going to cold plunge with us. Like, that's pretty cool. It's hot outside. I'm like, what else can we do? Like, so much fun.
Especially when you're the owner, and it's not like you're at some little company. It's a huge company. So being with the owner, it's a little bit different. So people understand, like, yeah, I've been at companies where I get to interact with the owner, but we're talking like one location. Tommy's business is humongous. And so when you get to do that with the owner, it's not that it's not powerful in the small situations, but you know what I mean. It's even more powerful at the size you are. And it's funny you say that, because I just started cold plunging, and it sucks at the time, but God, does it feel good afterwards. So I'm just trying to slowly start creating that habit, because a friend of mine really got into it. So far, so good. It's I want to say it's like a week and a half now that I've been doing it. So we'll see. But I do want to ask you this, and I would assume it's kind of by design, but like what I said in the intro that I think is so powerful, that you've had such a hand in the home surface market in general, like HVAC. Like, we talk about you and relate to things that you do, and it's not even the same industry. Was that kind of the whole point? Or did you, looking back now, it's like, man, this is amazing that I've been able to, kind of help all these different trades, that it's kind of the same, but kind of not, if that makes sense.
Well, the story goes like this. I got introduced to a few HVAC guys, and then I was somehow able to convince Service Titan. And this was not easy. This took months. I got accepted to go into their platform. I was the only company outside of HVAC, plumbing, electrical. And when I really got to meet the godfathers of the industry, Ken Goodrich, Ken Haynes, Leland Smith, I mean, my buddy Keegan, there's like so many people. I'm good friends with Ishmael. I'm good friends with Chad Peterman and Aaron Gaynor and Tom Howard. And I met all these people, and the list keeps going. Chris Hunter, and I got to be around them. I realized, man, this guy's got a private jet. Maybe I could go do a site visit and he'll teach me something. And they'd let me in, and they'd say, hey man, you're the garage door guy. We'll show you anything. Go ahead. Go in our training center. Talk to our CFO. Talk to our CMO. It was like, man, they're actually helping each other. In the garage door industry and most other industries, And you think about Ron Smith and Frank Blau and George Brazil back, they started a revolution of we get to help each other raise the industry. So I was like kind of R&D, rip off and duplicate. I'd show up there, take a bunch of notes, implement a bunch of things, go back out there, read their books, get them to sign. Like they all wanted to help. And I knew that if I didn't do this, at least I didn't do anything. But I started sharing what I was shared with. And I started letting people come to my shop because so many people let me in theirs. And all of a sudden people are like, why is he doing this? What kind of motives does he have? And I'm like, no, like I don't lose if you make more money. Like you guys think we can't all make more money and raise the standard of our industry? I said, why can't our employees make as much as HVAC plumbing? Why aren't we allowed to be on a billboard? Why do they get to drive new trucks? Why can't we buy our guys tools and have PTO and give our guys 401ks? Well, like we need to raise the industry. And I think most industries need that. And HVAC was just way more further evolved than plumbing and a lot of electrical. I think they figured it out because they've been working at it together for a longer time.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, do you get like out of all the trades, I mean, this might be a dumb question with the trade that you're in, but out of all the companies that have come to visit you or visit your shop, is it a particular trade that shows up more, or is it obviously garage doors because that's your market?
You know, I did a shop tour yesterday and I had a bunch of roofers. I actually had a cleaning company. I had a guy that did rock restoration, no garage door companies. And it was about 20 companies. And I'm like, you know, I've had mechanic shop owners come. You just never know because I don't really talk a whole lot about the products we sell because we all have different services and products. We all need great employees. We all need to book our phone calls. We all need a high conversion rate. We need to offer something different that's better than everyone else, at least the company story and the products we carry. You know, there's so many things in common in business. And then you break that down to just home service. So many things. I mean, it's crazy. The automation stuff we use, setting up a CRM, getting a good CFO, like depending on the size of your company, and then retaining A players. So I think people listen to me and they're like, dude, I know he's just a garage door guy, but like, I feel like he like knows me and knows my business because that's what I do. I talk about real life shit. And you know, if you listen to the podcast, it goes all the way from like 15 million. And then a year later, I was at 25 million. And so many people have come up to me. They're like, I listened to your podcast to 1 and I binged all the way through. And I was learning about 50 million versus 70 million, what you were going through, because I don't go exactly like this is every day what's going on, but I've left a lot of clues along the way. Like I'm struggling with this and this is hard. And I brought on help. That's the kind of cool thing about the podcast is I went out and found the best of what I needed. HR help. I needed to learn more about culture. I needed to talk about SOPs or manuals. I needed to understand branding. And I would just, whatever I needed, I'd go find the best person of that. I talked to ServiceTitan, or I talked to, you know, Intact, or I talked to someone I knew that was great at this, that had the best coach, or I read a book and I say, I need to get that person on. And you know what? All I did was ask, and people said yes, because a little bit because the show got bigger and it was a bigger audience, but a lot of it, I think they just wanted to share their story and they genuinely want to help.
Yeah. And so anybody out there that's running a business or of any size, if you are not listening to Tommy's podcast, you need to, because when people ask me, the 2 business related podcasts that I listen to the most is probably yours and then my buddy Tersh and Josh, the Service Business Mastery podcast, where it's obviously 2 different sides of the spectrum. But I always recommend those all the time. Well, that's even like, and I know we'll go more in depth, but your Freedom event in San Diego in September, like that is a whole bunch of different industries, you know, coming together, correct?
Yeah. So what I realized, and I've really been studying events, like I speak at them, I go to them, I hear about them, and typically you'll get a very mindset driven event. You know, they'll have Grant Cardone on Mindset or Gary Vaynerchuk or some famous football player. And some of them are all tactical or software driven. Like, we're going to talk about products. And I'm like, I've been talking to so many people and they're like, I not only want to know about business, but I want to start trying harder to become a better dad and a better person for myself and my wife. And I also, it's not like a religious ceremony, but I confess my faith. And it doesn't really matter if you're Christian and believe in Jesus, but I'm not afraid of it. And if you believe in any religion, you should be open about it. I never try to convert people. I'm not like, listen, come on up here. We're going to all, get baptized. But I think it's okay because in this world, we should be talking about these things and time with family. And like, there's 168 hours in a week, 168. Let's do some math real quick. 50 hours for work, if you're lucky. 50 hours for sleep, if you're lucky. 10 hours working out. You still have 58 hours. You could go on a date with every one of your kids every night. You could watch your favorite program. You could have the best breakfast, lunch, and dinners and really sit there and enjoy it. You could literally take your wife out for an hour walk every night and not even consider that for the workout time. There's still lots of hours. And I think people just say, I don't find the time. You don't have a calendar. You don't book things that are important. You don't prioritize. Like, I'm on this health journey. And I said before this Freedom event, September 25th, I'll be under 10%. And man, I think I'm hovering around between 12 and 13. I'm getting the DEXA again on August 20th. And I've been focused on gaining muscle. But I know I'm going to have to cut weight. I feel like the wrestling days where I'm going to have to be like, all right, dude, it's rice cakes. And it's like, we're just going to have to intermittent fast a little bit. And I'm going to I don't mind it. Yesterday I did 25,500 steps. So I'll do the work. I just might be a little bit irritable. But these events, man, I'm not trying to kill it, but Jocko, I have not been so serious ever in my life about discipline. And, I invited a lot of cool people, Leland and Paul Kelly. Paul Kelly's going to do like 300 million this year in one market. Just so many cool people are going to be there. Like Ken Goodrich said, of course I'm going to be there. Like, people are calling me saying, I'm coming to your event. There's a couple other events going on at the same time. I didn't mean to do the event the same time. I released my date earlier. And I hate that there's two good events going on at the same time. I never bash anybody. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I don't have anything to sell. Like, it's like, just, if you don't come to this event, let's put it this way. Gil, if you come to this event and you're like, dude, this was like not what I expected. It wasn't good. Find me or one of the 24 people I have there and say, just like my money back. Like, because by the way, I'm losing money. I guess Jocko's not cheap. Mm-hmm. I guess the food we picked is not cheap. And the band, we've got some famous people going to be there in it, but I really hope this changes your life. I really hope that you leave with a nugget that changes everything and literally repositions where you're headed in the future.
Yeah. And I love that the way you said that is the fact that you're not shy about your Christian faith. Because be honest, we're living in a crazy world where some people are afraid to say things like that. And I love that you push that, with your family. And it's not, I feel like some people out there today and they're scaring people off. It's, the, hey, look at me. It's a Lamborghini. It's that. And it's like, that's not why we're here. That's only going to get people to chase so far because it's not realistic. And, people like you and I following has helped change my life because I try to become more disciplined with my time. Like, everything is planned out because I was that person. I don't have time. Oh man, I'm too busy until I sit back and I'm like, well, I wasted 2 hours doing this. I sat and did this and just wasted time. And I started getting, I'm busier, but I spend more time with my children, with my wife, my mom, who has stage 4 lung cancer. I don't know how much time I have left with her. So I want to make sure that I have quality time as much as humanly possible while she's still here. And I just noticed that I'm still as busy as I used to be. I just get a lot more done now.
Well, I got a phone call Friday and I have a great friend. He wrote the book Giftology. His name's John Rule, and his assistant had called me and Bree. And Bree started bawling. So I said, what's going on with John? He's like 46 years old, 4 daughters under the age of 15, was hiking with his family, collapsed. They couldn't resuscitate him. He's gone. Big man of faith. I'm sure he's looking down, listening, smiling, saying, let my legacy live on. But tomorrow's not promised. And he was healthy. And all I'm saying is sometimes I'm afraid to answer the phone. It's scary because that shit happens. And tell people, send out a message. Look, no one's perfect, but man, it flies so fast. It just goes by so quick. And if you don't start enjoying the journey and start getting focused and not just try every day, just try a little, try to be the best version of yourself. Because if you could try to be the best version of yourself, there's nothing more you can do. You could ask for help more. You could tell people you love them more. You could show up for them in a bigger way. But man, that was crazy because the guy did so much good in this world. And we're all going to miss him. So I think it's crazy. 46 years old, dude. Crazy.
That is nuts. I'm sorry to hear that, man. My condolences for that, because it is a crazy world. And sadly, granted, where I grew up, I've lost so many people. I've kind of gotten numb to it. Not saying it doesn't hurt, but it's just you get numb to it. If I had any more people tattooed on me, I wouldn't. But you hear a lot of people say, and that's when I started feeding into it, people that are successful, a lot of it is because of their habits and what they do. And that's what I dive into, listening to different people, trying to change my daily habits to be able to get things done and just constantly trying to make myself better. Does that mean that, like you said, as long as you're moving forward, you're moving in a direction and you're not just, oh, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, because then it just turns into a bunch of empty promises and excuses, and nothing's ever really going to happen with that kind of mindset. You have to be disciplined.
Discipline is the number one thing. It's better than motivation. I've kind of learned, I consider this like a cheat code. Like in Mortal Kombat, it's ABACABB. It was like, this is like the cheat code, and I could go into Contra and other things. But I find that I find people that I want to be like. There's an attribute or something. It could be business. It could be faith. It could be family. It could be fitness. There's a lot of things it could be. But they're living proof. And it's not just a one-time occurrence. I see it over and over. And I study them. I read their books. I follow them. And now I got more access than ever. So I get to learn from them. And I don't mind to pay to play. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to have 4 or 5 coaches at a time. And I might be learning only one thing. I just want to know how they do it. And when you put these things to play, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they have the same amount of time as me and you in a day. And I'm not saying they're living legends and they do the best thing or any of these guys. Steve Jobs, when he was alive, maybe they work too much, but they're changing the world in a lot of ways. I've got more access. I don't mind to pay. Dan Martell, he wrote Buy Back Your Time. He said, something interesting about me, Tommy? And I get people that call me all the time. He goes, I've bought for a long time like I want to be bought from. Some of these guys run $1,000 a month programs, but they won't spend $500 on a program. Like some of you guys want to sell things like HVAC units for 20 grand or 15 grand or 12 grand for a 5-ton unit, but you won't spend $1,000 on your gutters at your house. Like it changed everything when I started buying how I want to be bought from. And you give me the options. If you're a plumber, you tell me everything you offer. There's a good chance I'm going to buy the majority of it because I buy now how I want to be bought. A lot of people don't like to invest in themselves, but they want people to invest in them.
Yeah. No, very true. And I found, and I love to hear your take on this, is I find a lot of people go to these events and they get all hoorah. And it's not that they don't want to be better. Obviously, they bought a ticket, they came, they have the desire to be better, but they leave that event and there's never any implementation. They write a bunch of notes, they take a bunch of stuff down, but the stuff they learn, they don't ever implement. And I was this person at one point. It was a growing pain. I'm just curious from your side, is it because it's a big step and it's change, or why is that such a thing that people have a hard time implementing it? Or do you think it's not a problem?
I think what happens when you go to an event, there's something weird in the air. There's productivity. You respect the people that are on the stage. You're around good people. And you get back home and you realize there's a lot of fires and you're stepping back into the storm. And you're going, I got 28 things. We had 3 days of 10 hours of great information. I don't even know where to get started. So they never implement because it's like they need help, especially visionaries and founders. They're like, a lot of them need to do the work because they don't have an integrator. They don't have a good right hand. They don't have an assistant. The smartest thing I did was hire an amazing EA. I got the right hand person. I got people that thought like me, that pushed me to the limit, that said no to me sometimes. I started putting a list together of the top 100, the top 30, the top 5. I learned that from Al Levy. And, a lot of people, it's overwhelming and they step back into the storm. And I don't blame them, but it's sad when I see the same people back every year and I go, how's the business? And it's the same it was 3 years ago. And by the way, if you didn't make money during COVID, you don't deserve to own a business. And now it's getting tough. In fact, I know these stats because Tom Howard shared them and I talked to Ara the other day. 20% of businesses are still growing at the same rate. We're one of them. I think we're right up there. 80% are declining because guess what? It's getting harder. There's more competition. There's less available workers. Interest rates are up. World peace is not exactly a thing right now. Political year. There's a lot of issues in economics, but I just think some people, it was easy when everybody was at their house and was using the toilet 18 times a day. And they were using the garage up and down, up and down, up and down. And they said, we're going to turn this into a gym. We're going to get a dog. And like 5 years of demand in a couple of years, maybe 10 years of demand. And now it's getting tough. And they're like, we need more leads. We need more leads. Well, what happened to our leads? And I'm like, well, what's your booking rate? What's your conversion rate? Are you getting reviews at every job? Are you talking to the HOA president? Are you knocking on the neighbor's doors? Did you even wrap your vehicles yet? Do you have manuals, standard operating procedures, checklists? Don't raise your prices unless you raise your service. But I'm like, my friend Ishmael always says, raise your prices, pay more, raise your prices, pay more. That lasts to a certain level. You can't sell a 5-ton unit for $500,000. So it doesn't work like that, but you do need to pay enough to get the top talent. And one of the things I was talking to Leland Smith the other day, and he's like, we just didn't believe in hiring people from the industry every now and then, but we had to make our own people. And that's a talent. That's a talent that I learned. Al Levy taught me that too. He taught me a lot of stuff. I mean, he's a 7-power contractor, whether you like him or not. I mean, I think he's one of the godfathers. He's one of the best of the best.
Amen.
And he said, learn how to make your own, he said. Make your own people. Make your own culture. Don't try to steal people. Like with the bad habits that are never going to be happy, that are bouncing around to the next dollar, Yeah,
I love that challenge of building them. Young guys or girls from church. I know they have a good moral compass. They have the integrity. They have a good family. And hey, I don't want to go to college. I'm like, okay, well, come. You want me to teach you HVAC? And some of those are in their early 20s now, and they're making $150,000 a year. And they're like, hey, I make more than my parents do, And I'm like, that's awesome, dude. That's, you know what I mean? And I love that. And that's kind of, it's funny you say that. My passion now is I love to, a lot of people talk about can't find good people. There's shortages in the industry, but then we don't do anything about it. I want to do something about it. I want to teach and bring in the younger generation, but you have to reach them. You have to be able to actually get through to them and then be able to train them when it happens in a way that they're not going to it can't be like the old ways, my way or the highway. Because guess what? They're going to go on the goddamn highway and they're going to leave. That times are changing, that it's not even about money. A lot of the polls that I did with a lot of younger kids, they're more worried about PTO than exactly the dollar per hour they make. So it's just trying to learn so that I can try to be better to give back to these people.
Yeah, it's definitely a different generation. I hear baby boomers all the time say, these damn millennials or Gen X or whatever. And it's like, they care. They want you to invest in them. They might want longer vacations, but they're willing to work longer hours. They might want a 3 or 4 day schedule, but they'll put in the time. And to create a flexible environment is super important. It's not always easy because your customers have 24/7 demand. But if you're hiring for nights, weekends, and holidays, you might want to recruit the person that's looking for that, like a server or a bartender or someone married to a nurse, and just really understand and find the person that would be a perfect fit. And I think people do a general ad. They go on Indeed and they say, no one's applying. I put out an ad. The best workers are not hanging out on the unemployment line. They have already got a job, and you need to get in front of them where they hang out, which is at the gym, at church, social media, and different places. And hopefully you could apply, you could get in front of their family. Like, how many times do you think the wife has said, I think you need to go check this place out? This is real. It almost feels like it's a MLM. Like, can people really be this happy and make this kind of money? And I had a guy yesterday I was interviewing. He's been here over a year. He's like, I'm going to clear $200,000 this year. Because I had a good job, I thought. It was making 70. And he's just getting started. Like, I feel like he's in the fetal stages of where he's going. And I just said, man, I am so proud of you. You've been here a year. And this is real. And he's so young in his career. I got another guy that's 21 that's going to make Pinnacle. That'll give him equity in the company. 21 years old in Tucson. I interviewed him too we got to bring the fire meeting tomorrow. And I'm like, dude, if you got a will, I'll find a way. It's the people that they don't believe in themselves. They don't look in the mirror and say, maybe it's me. They blame everybody else. They say, I'm not getting the leads. The weather sucks. The dispatcher doesn't like me. You have no idea what happened to me as a kid. It's like, dude, I know a lot of the people that I work with didn't have a mom growing up. I know a lot of people used to get beat up. I know a lot of people when dad walked out. I know a lot of people that had to sell drugs growing up. But guess what? You can't change that. You could change today and tomorrow. So we can talk about your problems, and I want to listen. But I'm not going to let that be an excuse to hold you back anymore. We got to release that.
Yeah, no, somebody who beat addiction, I don't let my past define me. I'm honest about it because I want to help others get through that struggle. I know it's big in the trades, but that doesn't define me. If anything, it drives me to keep moving forward. And yeah, it's I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, I had a blank. I was thinking of something to ask you, and then I went off on another tangent and totally forgot. That sucks because it was good. I've been thinking about it for a few minutes. But yeah, that's like when you're talking about money in the HVAC trade, and for us, that's what it was. Is I feel like too many people in the trades in general. So all of them wrapped up. Garage doors, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. Some people think like, oh, I didn't go to college and they settled for the trades, when they don't realize that the trades are riddled with opportunity. I would say besides real estate, that the trades have made more so-called quiet millionaires than any other industry.
Well, the trades, listen, at the end of the day, it was embarrassing to say you're a garbage man, or you lay tile, or you're a garage door guy, or you install HVAC units in attics, or you fix toilets and drains. That was like, yeah, you're blue collar. It was like, yeah, good luck. And all of a sudden, real money started to look at this. We were essential. Like when every nail salon, theater, and every other thing shut down, everybody needed us. It's our time. And I'm glad I got to see this. I'm glad I was right in the middle of it. And I'm not glad about the virus and all that crap, but I'm glad that people actually had self-respect when they put on their shirt and said, yeah, you need me. Whether it's good or bad, I'll give you options. if you want to actually like improve your home. But if it's something breaks that's major, you need us. And I'm excited because I think the trades, look at the private equity. Look at everybody their brother wants to start an HVAC or a roofing company and a gutter company. It's like they're coming out of the woodwork. I got guys from my MBA program, which I didn't learn a whole lot from, going, dude, how do I do what you did? And I'm like, it's going to take you 2 decades, buddy. Like, you wanted to move up the corporate ladder, and everybody I know wants to get out of the corporate world. They're like, it's so disorganized. There's different leadership going after different goals and different layers, and they're a cog on the wheel. Like, and now you feel alive. You could do stuff. You could move quickly. You don't have to go through 8 different meetings to get permission to do something. Like, dude, I love where we're at today. I love the trades. I want to see these people come up too. But if you think it's going to be easy, if you think this is like, it must be easy if these retards are doing it. No. There's smarter people, I think, in the trades. They know how to manage the EQ, not just IQ. They didn't go to a lot of school, but they understand street smarts. They understand how to treat people like they want to be treated. They understand customer service. They understand like how to talk a different language. And they just think they're going to come in and be able to dominate. You think because you got money and you went to an Ivy League school, you understand it. You disrespect people when you talk. You don't try to put yourself where they've been through. You think your shit doesn't stink, and good luck. They don't ever win. They do not compete, period.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. That's so true. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. And that's true. That, I mean, private equity and all these people coming in trying to get their piece because they see what the trade value in the trades. You think that they would be trying to do that if they didn't think that we were going to have crazy growth or they could make $1? So obviously they're seeing something in us. And I think that the trades in general need to look in the mirror and see it in ourselves. And I think the sooner we do that, the better off that people are going to be. Like I live in a nice neighborhood, and, I got doctors and lawyers. And when I talk to them and they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm in the trades, man. Yeah, I'm a general manager at HVAC. Well, I was a general manager at HVAC company. And I say it with pride, like I'm very happy what I do, the same way they talk about, oh, I'm a lawyer or I'm a doctor. And, I'm not saying that we're the same as them and stuff like that, but I feel about my career like they feel about their career.
Well, I don't know about you, but when somebody tells me they're a lawyer or a doctor, I'm kind of in the okay. I'm not embarrassed for them, but I'm like, that's what you wanted to be when you were a kid, a lawyer, a doctor. You wanted to be an astronaut. You wanted to be something that paid good, an orthodontist. But, at the end of the day, I'm glad where we landed. I'm so proud of my past and the way the team has come together and what we've accomplished. And here's the coolest part. We're just getting started. My cousin Rachel called me. This was 18 months ago. And she said, I'm so impressed by you. You read books. You're talking on stages. You wrote books. Your company is a legend. She goes, but why don't you love yourself? And I said, what do you mean? She's like one of my closest friends. She said, it just seems like you're drinking a lot. You're not the best version of you. Your body isn't where it should be for what I know. Like, you're good at so many things. You're into dominating. You don't lose at anything you put your mind to. But it doesn't seem like you love yourself. Why is that? And she goes, you need to go look at yourself in the mirror. Take your shirt off. Tell me if you're proud. And man, I almost cried. I wasn't proud. I said, I'm too busy. You don't understand what it's like to be me. And she goes, just go get the DEXA scan. See where you're at. And the guy told me, he just went through it and he goes, well, you're apple shaped and you're obese. You're 27.4%. More than a quarter of your body is fat. And man, when I saw what gets measured, gets managed, I was like, I am so much better than this. And I started loving myself and treating my body like people say, treat it like a temple, but like really putting good stuff in my body and eating right, getting my sleep and focusing on the right amount of water and having a little bit of discipline to say no to dessert or beer. Like, dude, I like to drink. I like dessert, but do you know that only makes me happy. Like the minute I eat like a Reese's Pieces, that comes and goes in seconds. And that's like 400 calories. Well, now I walk for an hour, it's 500 calories. And I think just to have what's on this package, that's going to take me an hour. And I'm like, my time, effort, and energy is not worth that 2 seconds of, satisfaction. So if I don't have people in my corner that tell me the truth and tell me what they think, even when I don't want to hear it, they're not my real friends. They're not my family.
Amen. It's awesome that you're surrounded by those people, because I agree. I want to be around people that are brutally honest with me. And that's what I try to be for other people. You know how they say it in business, you give somebody the shit sandwich, you say something nice, then you say what you really mean, and then compliment them again. It's like, no, man, just if you got something to say, just kick me in the nuts and get it over with. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather you just be direct with me, because I want to know if I'm, if I think I'm doing good at something and you're like, hey, Gil, I kind of, you could have done better. I know you could have done better. Like that's what drives you. And that's the kind of people you should surround yourself with. My brother used to always say that, if you're the best one in your group of friends, then you need to find a new group of friends. And that was when he told me that. I needed to hear it, but it was hard. And I do have a new group of friends, and I still talk to some of those guys. But I think that if I would have stayed with those people, I wouldn't be where I am now, which is not anywhere close to where I want to be. But I would have never even started on this journey.
I was on a podcast in Vegas last week, and the guy said, and this guy's had Grant Cardone and you name the famous Gary and just the best-selling authors and just really, really wealthy. You name it, probably preachers. I mean, he had the who's who. And he said to me, he goes, dude, you're the first guy I've ever met that I feel like you're in a time machine. And he goes, the reason I say that is hearing your life, you've literally changed your group so fast. And you continue to elevate the people and look for, it's not like I'm like trying to switch up friends. I still have family and friends, but it's like I get around the right people in the right circle. And you're right. If you're not in the right circle, it's a cage. So I've literally traveled 70 years for most people because I made the decision, and I just keep my eyes open. And I'm like, man, I really respect that person. He's a man of God, or man, that guy's a good dad, or that guy's a great husband, or that guy takes care of himself, or that person is such a good leader. And then it elevates more. And I had a guy come up to me. He goes, I only allow 5 people in my circle a year. And he goes, I've done this for the last 4 years, and I've changed the names every time. And every single year I start out at the bottom, whatever he's going for, not only money or business. And he goes, by the end of the year, I've kind of learned everything. And I don't think he's just interchanging them. And it sounds bad, but the deal is he's like, now you're part of this if you'll let me in. And I'm like, well, just know you're not going to beat me.
That's funny. I know we're getting close to an hour, Tommy, and you got somewhere to be. So I want to say this, man. For one, thank you for what you do. I love the way you do it. Sometimes it's not just the information, it's how it comes across. And you're a very authentic person. At least you come across that way, which I know is genuine. And I love the way that you motivate. Like when I listen to your audiobooks, and I love that it's your voice, or even a couple of times you've been on the podcast and I get done, I want to jump through a brick wall. You know what I mean? Because the way that you say things, that you motivate and you do things yourself. It's not like I heard somebody did this. It's I'm doing this, or I did this. And I just think that speaks volumes. And I just want to thank you so much for what you do, man, and what you're going to do in the future, and for coming on the show as many times as you have, because I value it and I really appreciate it.
I love it, Gil. You're doing a great service to a lot of people. I was driving with my dad. This was a while back. We were driving to Sedona, and he was talking to me about scriptures, and I got lucky to have a second chance with him because he was very close to passing away through COVID. I made a deal with Jesus, actually, but, he says, Tommy, I've been praying for you for a long time since you were a little boy, since the day I held you in my hands. And he goes, I knew you were you're just getting started. He goes, I just want you to know, listen and pay attention because you have not seen what God's going to do in your life. He goes, look for the signs because you have so much more potential. Some people think you're at the top of your game. You haven't got started yet. And that's what's cool. I got people like that praying. They're in my corner. They take my call. I mean, that's my dad, but it's like, I am just getting started. So just know that you're going to hear a lot more. And the best compliment I could ever receive is when someone says, I'm spending more time with my kids. My marriage is better. The people at my company are happier. I've got more freedom than ever. I'm giving it back to my city and my society that I live in. And I'm going to church again. And I'm my kid's soccer coach. And it goes on and on. Like, that's what I want. That's better than getting a record day. That's better than to me, if I could just impact, right? I'm not doing the work. I'm not the one forcing anybody to do anything. I'm just sharing stories. And if I could have that kind of impact and people want to listen and they know I'm real and they can see by example that, like I said, I'm just getting started because it's addicting to help people. And maybe it's selfish because it makes me feel good because I love it when I had an impact.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. And granted, we're, impacting people on totally different levels. But I even as simple as me doing little ride-alongs with technicians, I love doing that. I leave and I come home and I feel like I accomplished something. Like, man, I'm helping mold this young guy and young man into something, and I can see it every day, when I say something and then I see them do that. And it's like, man, this is making me better at the same time that I'm helping them. Like, it is addictive. Like, this is awesome. And I just want to keep doing that. So that's what I'm going to find a way to do because that's what makes me happy.
I love it, man. Go after where your heart, if you listen to your heart, it'll tell you where you need to go. And I'll tell you what, if it's giving back to charity, you'll find a way. Look, do what you love to do. Enjoy the journey. Feel great about it when you go to sleep, and you'll never have to go to work again.
Trying to do that. Like I told you, I made a big jump. It was scary. A lot of people were like, Gil, what the hell are you doing? But I did exactly what you just said and followed my heart. And I'm on the path. I'm just at the beginning stages of it. So we'll see where it goes. But it's 9:00 here, man. So I know it's 6 where you are. So thank you so much, Tommy. I appreciate you, man. And keep changing the game. And I know that you're going to do great things, and I can't wait to see it.
Thanks, Gil. It was a pleasure. Great podcast.
Yep. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I'm going to close this thing out real fast. And don't remember, actually, I got Tommy is, I'm going to ask Tommy again real fast. Tommy, what is the dates of your event again? So I get it right.
Yeah, September 25th through the 27th in San Diego, freedomevent.com. You should be there.
Yeah, I need to make it work. So I'll make sure I share that. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So anybody out there, if you are running a business, you're in the home service industry, you definitely, Tommy's event, like there's a bunch of good events. But when it comes to that, I always, talk about Tommy's different events. And to be honest, I haven't been to one yet. So I gotta practice what I preach and, put up or shut up. So, I'm always trying to be honest with you guys. But the Freedom event, September 25th to the 27th in San Diego. So make sure that you do that. If you have trouble finding it, message me and I'll get you in touch with whoever it's got to be so that you can go do that. And I just seeing people like Tommy is refreshing because especially a bunch of you in the chat, we've had conversations about certain people, especially in our industry, the HVAC trade. And I'm not saying names, and please don't put names in the comments. I won't read them, but the way that they do things, it turns people off. And I just love the way that Tommy does it because he's so genuine. And when you meet Tommy in person, he's the exact same way every single time, whether he's on a podcast in front of hundreds of thousands of people, on a stage in front of thousands of people. He's always the same. And that's why I love having Tommy on. And I hope that comes through and you guys get that same message. You know what I mean? You can have it, rookie. I am fortunate now to love what I'm doing. So if you guys do not know, yes, I left Beltway. Mr. Zeke Warner, who was in the trade, he is the owner of JC Warner. And he gave me the privilege to come over there and train, two of his technicians. And we're slowly in that process. We're making gains. And I am loving every day of it, man. I'm having such a blast. They're two amazing young men that I get to train, and they're young, they're fresh, and they're still moldable. And I just feel like I'm having an impact, and I'm actually doing something every day that I know is paving the way forward for our trade. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But yeah, man, I hope you guys love this episode as much as I did. I love when I get to talk to Tommy. He's a very busy man. So, the fact this is the third or fourth time over the years that he's been on means the world to me. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it. With that being said, please make sure that you actually, before I go into that, I didn't get to holler at some people tonight. So first and foremost, I want to thank all of my moderators that are in here. Rookie, I love you, brother. I mean, Rookie's my man. We joke back and forth, but I love Scott to death. He's always there for me, always helps me, and he's never asked me for a fucking thing. So that's why I like to do things. So I appreciate you. Mr. Jason Johnson, what is up, my brother? I hope you're enjoying that new job. And to the people, you guys that are here every week, man, I appreciate it. And you guys busting my balls about shipping things out. I take it because I deserve it. But I promise you, it's not intentionally. The fact that I am a busy person and I literally book myself down to the half an hour. Like, I am always doing something. I don't sit around. I don't watch TV, which is not an excuse. If you're going to do giveaways, you got to make sure people get that stuff. But I promise I got you guys, which is why I don't try to make excuses. And when you guys bust my balls, I take it because I deserve it. So please know that when I say things, I'm just joking. I take it full, wholeheartedly. But I appreciate all of you that come here every week, man. I really, really do. Like I always say, I know the audio pays the bills around here, but I know that I'm going to see, for the most part, some of the same names every week, and I look forward to it, and I appreciate you. So thank you very, very much. Yeah, make sure you follow the podcast on all the social media sites to stay up to date on everything that we have going on. There is a few changes that I'm going to implement here in the next week or so. So we're still going to do these live Wednesday shows, but I'm also going to have some audio podcasts that are going to come out where it's just going to be me talking about a bunch of different little topics. It's just going to be the audio put out, and then the videos will be after the fact. So that's going to happen, and I'm going to pre-book some more of the Saturday night hangouts. I'm going to try to do them once a month. I just can't commit to do them every Saturday right now. There's just no way, and I don't want to do that. But I am trying to get some things going. My oldest son, I'm trying to get him involved to doing some videos with me, maybe come on the podcast some. And I actually have an interview with my mom of what it's been like to be married to an HVAC man for all those years, and then now to have her son do it. So I think that's cool, and you guys will like it. Plus, I figured that video was awesome because it'll be timeless. And God forbid, whenever my mom's gone, that's still going to be here. So I think that's going to be good. Tomorrow, I will be over on the Eastern Shore with Mr. Zeke. So I will be in the Eastern Shore of Maryland over the Bay Bridge. I will be over there. So I drive an hour plus over there and back every day. So it will be good. He does. You guys are. Oh yeah, don't forget tomorrow night. Thank you, Rookie. See, it's what I'm talking about. So tomorrow night, please go check out my buddy Everett Lipple. He's been on the podcast several times. Everett is a good friend of mine. I love that dude. He's just an amazing guy. I am going to be on his show tomorrow night, the Sales Tales podcast. So I'm going to be a guest. I'm pretty sure he has it. So you can listen to the audio on all those, podcast platforms you normally get it from, but he also puts it on Facebook and YouTube. I'm pretty sure. I know it's on Facebook. If you just look up Sales Tales Podcast, you'll find it. And Everett has been doing an amazing job with his show, had some amazing guests. So I'm super psyched to be on there and talk to my buddy. But that's tomorrow, and that should be, let me double check my calendar, but it should be 8, the same time as my show, just tomorrow night. So I'll try to share as much as I possibly can. So, you guys can come watch and come hang out. That's going to be a good time. All right. That's the Sales Tales Podcast, just talking about different stories of people in the trade. And it's going to be a good time. All right. So that should be good with all the news, but I'll close that thing out now. Like I said, follow the podcast on all the social media sites. And if you guys have not left me a review on Apple Podcast or wherever it is that you get your podcast, if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be great. I know I stopped asking for them, and I want to get those reviews up. And, obviously give me a 5-star review. If it's not 5 stars, 4, whatever, that's fine. But if it's less, then don't do it. I'd rather you email me, info@HVACuncensored.com, and let me know why you feel that way. I always say, just don't be an asshole about it, but give me your honest opinion. You guys are my customers. You're my end user, and I'll try to make changes and fix things, to make it so it is a 5-star for you. All right. But yeah, that's enough. I've been talking long enough. Close this damn thing out. Please be safe out there. Keep your head on a swivel. We all have somebody to make it home to. All right. Driving. I say that driving, the breaker panel, whatever it is, man, we're living a crazy world. Please be careful. Stay hydrated. All right. If it's still really hot where you are and you're up in an attic, stop this, macho attitude. You dying over somebody's HVAC system is not fucking worth it. So please take care of yourself. Stay hydrated, be careful, and please be safe. All right. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. There's no reason in this day and age that you can't get to where you want to be what you want to be. All right. But like we just talked about, it's going to take discipline. It's going to take some sacrifice. Nothing comes without sacrifice, and nothing comes without failure. All right. Success comes because you failed and you finally succeeded. That's the way it works. You don't always succeed on the first time. All right. I always want you to be the best version of yourself. I've said that for years, and I'm glad that got tied in tonight by somebody like Tommy saying that. All right. But with that being said, man, I love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have an amazing week. Stay safe. And hopefully I see you guys tomorrow in the chat of that podcast. If not, I'll talk to you mofos next week. All right. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.